Namaste, everybody. My name is Shekhar Patel, and I'm the president of International Center for Cultural Studies, USA. I welcome you all to this global keynote speech session of the 7th Triennial International Conference and Gathering of the Elders. We have been witnessing many speakers speak, and it feels like really we can reach out and touch the stars. We have been feeling connected to something bigger than ourselves during this last more than 24 hours. Before we jump into the two important speeches, I just want to give you a little bit of background on what went through to bring us to this stage. Basically, it is my report to all of you about the activities that were needed to get to this point. We had about 28 volunteers from across the globe helping us since last 3 months to pull in speakers and delegates. So we had 80 speakers during this conference. We had 550 delegates who have registered. Apart from these 550 delegates, there were about 1,000 people who have joined us through YouTube and Facebook. And to get to that point, we did a social campaign wherein we reached out to about 400,000 people, out of which about 5,000 people interacted with us. So this was a little bit on how we made this conference happen. I would also want to talk a little bit about ICCS, which is International Center for Cultural Studies. ICCS has been conducting these conferences since these 3-year triennial conferences since 2003. But before that, the vision of ICCS was to connect elders of ancient traditions so that they can interact among themselves and strengthen their own cultures, languages, traditions, religion, and feel connected to the entire globe. So ICCS goal is not to propagate itself as an organization, but to provide a platform to ancient cultures. And the vision is universal well-being. When I say universal, in 2015, we had a conference, and the theme of the conference was universal well-being. So that conference actually, went deep into what is universal well-being, and we mean by that all living and non-living things. And definitely, Mother Earth is in the center of all of that. So all the traditions that respect Mother Earth, we bring them all together in these 3-year conferences. Apart from these 3-year conferences, we do work locally in different countries. We have registered organization in India, ICCS India. The president of that is Dr. Shashi Bala. We have registered ICCS in US, but we do have our volunteers on the ground in UK, in Europe, in Kenya, in Colombia, in Canada, and of course, United States, apart from India and Asia Pacific areas too. So our work goes through only volunteers, and that is what we have been doing for last 21 years plus. And again, this is the 7th conference, which means we have completed 18 years of doing this. There are many delegates who have been part of us for last 18 years. It has been a journey. And if you would, we have actually become an adult with this conference. So we have learned a lot in 18 years. And hopefully by next conference, we'll be 21 years old, all of us, in terms of our conferences, the life of conferences. And with this, we have really come to a point where we have been able to starting to make some impact in the communities whom we touch. So with this, I will now introduce our first speaker. She is Judy Ling Wong. She was born in Hong Kong and studied in Australia. She lives in Europe. She's a painter, a poet, and an environmentalist. Besides, she's the president of Black Environment Network, with an international reputation as the pioneer in the field of ethnic participation in the building of natural environment. She pioneered an integrative approach to environmental participation, bringing together social, cultural, environmental, and economic concerns. She is a major voice in the area of social inclusion policies. In 2000, Judy was honored with Officer of the Order of the British Empire Award for her pioneering work among ethnic minority communities for environmental participation. And in 2007, the honor of Commander of the Order of the British Empire followed for services to heritage. With this, I welcome Judy Ling Wong.
Thank you very much. I give thanks for the great privilege of speaking to you all. So I shall begin. Sometimes there's value in looking back and remembering where we began and how we got to where we are now. A long time ago, there was a simple fact that humans knew at a very basic instinctive level that we were part of nature. We were closer to being animals, set apart only by our future potential to be fully human. There was a time when we just ran from everything that hurt us because we could not understand what was causing what was happening to us. Take the element of fire. Fire hurt us. Fire burnt us. Fire threatened our lives. The smell of smoke filled us with fear. Fire made animals and people run. Over time, through our capacity for consciousness, our abilities to think, to observe, and analyze situations, among many other abilities, we mastered fire. We could make it friendly. We could make it serve us. We gradually gained control of different aspects of our lives through the use of our ingenuity. But there was more. We responded to everything around us with our unique qualities of imagination and the appreciation of beauty. There came a time when we sat night after night, even when it was warm, around the fire, and allowed it to hold our attention, stimulate and mesmerize us. Fire became the focus of the storytelling place where we began to speak about ourselves and the world around us. We humans are soul-infused creatures, capable of making symbols, attributing meaning to actions. We finally grew to the point where we formulated abstract ideas, created values and ethos in relating to each other as individuals and as community. Tens of thousands of years passed as we refined ways of connecting with the environment around us and the people around us. We gathered knowledge and experience and learned how to live in balance as we flourished mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. When we had enough to eat, we spent time in creating beautiful things. We decorated ourselves and produced art and craft objects. We created rituals and ceremonies that bound us together as community and fed our spiritual needs. At a certain stage, beyond the necessary control to survive and to make sense of everything that was around us, we reached a peak, a level of consciousness we call wisdom. All contemporary cultures, even the most technological, carry tradition and wisdom in their history, no matter how far they may feel they have moved away from it. The vastness of diversity, of tradition and wisdom that we celebrate today offers us a basis for a reinvigorated renewal. The dictionary tells us that wisdom is the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. Wisdom, in the context of living in balance, was manifested as an intimate relationship with nature, in which we recognize ourselves as part of it, understanding that if we injured nature, we injured ourselves. But there was more. Within the relationship with nature and people, infused with wisdom, was love, beauty, and poetry. There was a centrally powerful ethos. We must not take what we do not need. The cause of our present potential catastrophe of climate change is so simple. Some of us began to take far more than we needed to live a fulfilled life. We oppressed people and nature. Having reached that peak we call wisdom in a balance of living, somehow some of us began to lose our way as we grew more powerful in our capacity to manipulate nature and people. We separated ourselves and became arrogant. Many of us, too many of us, began to see ourselves as the sole masters and prime beneficiaries of the earth. The earth is a remarkable system, able to repair itself with life forms that can adapt to changing conditions. But our planet now cannot keep pace with the scale of damage that modern humans are capable of. Through our high level of knowledge, we now predict that the conditions we are creating will threaten human life. But the fact is that if humans disappear from the earth, our planet can and will carry on, and over time at its own pace, it will repair itself, evolve, and continue without us. We humans, ironically, are the most fragile of living creatures. There's a realization in the 21st century that we need to stop causing damage. Hence, all the panic around what we now call the climate emergency, culminating in COP26 in Glasgow this year. At the present time, a darkness hangs over our lives across the world. 3 substantial crises dominate us. COVID-19, our pandemic crisis. Black Lives Matter, about intercultural relationships, and climate change threatening human survival through the massive destruction of nature. How do we look at these crises, informed by traditional knowledge and wisdom? Set within Buddhism, there's something we call karma. Similar ways of interpreting what happens to us in life exist in many cultures. Karma, at its simplest, is seen as cause and effect. But importantly, in Buddhism, it is set within a perspective that says life is not simply a random string of incidents. It is a meaningful sequence of happenings. Negative karma is not seen as a consequential punishment, but a learning situation in which the circumstances we are faced with contain essential lessons. If we look hard to find and learn the lessons, then all the difficulties of the situation will just disappear. But sometimes, like right now, these lessons can be set in blazing gigantic neon lights, and still so many of us refuse to deal with the issues. Then suffering continues. COVID-19 shows us the vital reality of global interconnectedness, interdependence, and the necessity of sharing between rich and poor nations. The Black Lives Matter movement tells us about loving and caring for everyone as valuable equals, no matter what their skin color is. And the climate emergency points to the need to live in balance with nature in order to survive. These huge lessons are elements of great wisdom. Many of us have noted these lessons. there is awakening, but because we're not doing very well overall, these situations go on and on. The crises are pushing us to recognize that we must make even greater efforts to participate in dialogue and action towards collective change. This is especially true in democracies, where the principle is that the government is supposed to be the servant of the people. Then there is talk of broken democracies, and who is supposed to fix them but us? Within the darkness, there is always light. Life is a meandering river of change. New opportunities reflect where humanity is now. This is the 21st century, and the next most challenging opportunity is going to be given to us by science. There's nothing wrong with science in itself. Pure knowledge is one of the glories of being human. But we seem to often lose our way in how we use our human talents to live in balance. The isolation of pure knowledge from wholeness and wisdom does not bode well. Science right now is unfolding in the direction of offering us the possibility of another kind of world. Some of us are frightened of its implications. It indeed has to be a brave new world, because it will be one in which so many of us will potentially have no jobs. But instead of the frantic lives of emptiness that so many people live now, we may again have the great privilege of reclaiming time for ourselves again if we redesign society itself. Artificial intelligence, visions of vertical, mechanical, indoor urban farming, robots to take the drudgery out of life, and the digital revolution on a grand scale are future realities that can give us back a humanity of infinite richness. COVID-19 has put many people on the path of intense and forced self-reflection. Many people are rediscovering in isolation that the most important thing in life is happiness that is based on right relationship to people, especially those closest to us, and to nature, which we are instinctively again turning towards. Building on this reflective energy can enable us to step further onto the path to the collective wisdom that is needed for extensive change. Consider one key issue. A small section of society owns most of technology, resources, and wealth as we move towards no jobs for many. It is a formula that will not work. Years ago, many of us were shocked to be told that 5% of our population owned 50% of our wealth. And then more recently, we were told that 1% owned the equivalent of the assets of 50% of the population. Even the richest people have no choice but to recognize that things have to change. Technology, food, everything will have to be shared. We need a societal framework in which each of us will claim life as of right. Everything will be shared, and culture will rise up the agenda. We're not starting from square one. Various ideas that have been around for a long time are coming forward. For example, in the UK, there's already talk of an universal income. Recently, at the United Nations World Urban Forum in 2019 in Abu Dhabi, culture was named as the fourth pillar of sustainability. I believe that this transition will give us the time and circumstances to reinvigorate our cultures and live life fully again. A remarkable opportunity lies before us to rebuild the fullness of human relationships to people and to nature. We all want societal structures within which individuals have the chance to succeed and be rewarded. But to which extent? These issues are moral and structural. The necessity to share has been clearly on the agenda for some time. Many of us know that we have enough food now to feed everyone in the world, and yet the West is rampant with drastic health problems from eating too much, while others in our world starve. The inability to share is grotesque. When I look into the deep heart of the cause of climate change, what I see is a failure of two fundamental relationships in the context of sustainability. The relationship of people with nature and the relationship of people to each other. If we love nature deeply enough, we simply cannot damage it the way we do. And if we love people enough, we cannot take on any damage that damages them. Looking at it in this way, climate change is the result of a moral and spiritual failure of relationship. With COVID-19, part of the framework of society is in collapse at the present time. Such collapse is a huge opportunity for substantial societal change. It is a chance for us not to just put things back the way they were, but to think and rebuild differently, moving away from empty economic obsession and consumption. There is talk of a green recovery and a green future. I am all for it. It will take all of our will, all of our courage, imagination, and skills to formulate one planet living. It is the height of wisdom to act from the base of love for nature and love for people. Love set within wisdom is a vital driving force, an inner resource that must be externalized to influence change, translated into dialogue and action at all levels, from personal lifestyle to policy at the top. I would like to assert that in the 21st century, the success of repositioning ourselves is dependent on love for nature and for people at the level of passion. Because there's so many apparently urgent life concerns around us now in our modern world, that without passion, that loving enactment in the name of people and in the name of nature will not rise to the top of the agenda. There is no lack of passion in this gathering. I give thanks that it is so. It is obvious to all of us here that a vital contribution to change comes from the sophisticated richness and inspiration of traditional wisdom. We are optimistic movers and shakers. Let us look forward to a massive effort for innovative change, particularly from our wonderful young generation, anchored in a place of passion and of strength. Let us here today, and for all the days to come, set alight again and again the fire within our hearts, so that within all our actions, moving as one towards our desired future, we burn with the power of love and of wisdom. Let us look forward together to transforming our world for the better, for the next 7 generations. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Judy. I do agree, we need a cosmic shift in our perspectives. Actually, the whole world needs a shift in their perspectives, how we look at life. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mananiya Rangahariji. He's originally from Kochi, India. He received his bachelor's in politics, history, and Sanskrit. Since 1951, he has worked as a full-time volunteer for Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, serving the Hindu community at grassroots level. He has held responsibilities at national levels in Sangh. He has traveled to 22 countries. He's a prolific writer, has written about 28 books. He's fluent in 7 languages. One relevant fact is that he has connected to our cause of ancient cultures by participating in the World Conference of Pre-Christian Religions in Lithuania in 2001, and participated in similar conferences twice in India later on. I now welcome our 90-year-old elder, Manya Rangahariji.
Namaskars. Audible?
Yes, Rangahariji, you are audible.
All over the world, everyone wants universal peace and happiness. By and large, all are striving to achieve that noble goal. It was this golden goal that our ancestors, particularly of Bharat, that kept before the eyes when one of them proclaimed, "Let all be happy, let none have any malady, let everyone be secure and safe, let none have any affliction whatsoever." It is this Vedic prayer that has been guiding all the ancient traditions all along throughout the world. We can be quite sure that none will be against this universal prayer, but to translate it to reality, the starting point is none other than man. It is who can make or mar. Here we are reminded of Lord Krishna, who said in Gita, there are 2 types of men, the divine and the demonic. The divine are those guided and goaded by qualities like honesty, empathy, kindness, compassion, charity, purity, non-injury, straightforwardness, and so on. And those who belong to the demonic quality, they are propelled by qualities just opposite to these, by avarice, greed, jealousy, envy, grabbing, usurpation, and qualities of this type. There is what we may call a positive man and a negative man in the world. The former is a boon to mankind, whereas the latter a bane. The former reforms the earth of ours into heaven, whereas the latter reduces it to a hell. After all, heaven and hell are what we humans make this earth of ours to be. They are not 2 different regions far beyond in some never to be seen corner. Surely this world of ours has become wiser, especially after the 2 world wars of the last century. The colonial injustice and the inhuman Holocaust have taught enough to the man of this century, learning lessons from history, both good and bad. He is on the right royal road of human recovery. All over the world, at universal level, he has given rise to various wholesome institutions almost in all the nations. They have their own sphere of activity, their own structure, and their own speciality. They all promise hope and happiness to mankind. In this world scenario, what is the relevance of the ancient traditions and ancient cultures thriving even today? At the very outset, let me say, in these times, it is the ancient traditions that have become more relevant than the self-styled harbingers of modern civilization. Let me substantiate. The ancient basic viewpoint I am going to keep before you. The ancient traditions upholds that the creative spirit pervades the entire creation. It is the very first axiom of Ishavasya Upanishad of Bharat. Further, it holds that every living being harbors a soul within. It does not say that only man created on the sixth day has the soul. Again, this tradition asserts that earth is one single whole that gives refuge and protection to entire creation. Every being has equal right to live and develop on this globe. Veda says Vishwam Ekam Needam, meaning universe is a nest. What a fine simile, bird's nest. Nest always guarantees safety, guarantees protection, guarantees development, caressing, self-reliance, and finally freedom. This is precisely the idea of modernity when they speak of global family. Then there is the corollary. Here upon this earth, even an insignificant worm has got as much right as the most evolved man has to live and thrive. This world was not created by God for man to enjoy. The non-human creation was not created for man to exploit. The tradition says, old traditions say, throughout the world, even an ant has the inalienable right to possess this earth. Earth is the mother of all, not only mankind. So she is called in Sanskrit Vasundhara. This Vasundhara meaning the sustainer of all elements. It is this attitude that molds the mind of the ancient traditionalists, the present-day Hindu, as well as the long-derided so-called pagan, to be eco-brotherly. I would be happy to take you to poet Bhartrihari, who finally attained rishihood, praying to the 5 elements, basic elements that go to make the world and creation. He says, "O Mother Earth," I am quoting, "O Mother Earth, Father Air, Brother Space, Cousin Water, Friend Fire, bless me on the pain, on the path of my renunciation. I prostrate before you all." All the 5 elements were his kith and kin. This means the ancient traditions speak of eco-brotherliness and not merely eco-friendliness. Now comes the point of universally proclaimed gender equality. No doubt for the West, it is a revolutionary march, but for the pre-Christian tradition, it is carrying coal to Newcastle. All those modern upholders of gender equality are the ones we should not forget who held on to their scriptural truth that woman was the first sinner. Then onwards, for the untold heart-rending woes and sufferings of the women, history is ample testimony. But here too, ancient tradition is quite different. It does not consider that woman was created for man, from man, and after man. Hers was a simultaneous appearance along with man. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says man and woman were born simultaneously, just as the 2 halves of one single grain. There is no doubt that it is a brilliant idea that developed in later years to end up in the sublime conception of Ardhanarishwara, meaning left half of Parvati and right half of Shiva to conjoin to form one single Parameshwara. For the ancient tradition, to conceive of the creator in feminine form also is as natural as the sunrise in the east. So those belonging to the ancient traditions are perfectly at home with gender equality and they are not at all required to adjust their mind to an unfamiliar idea of so-called modern days. For them, there is no question of shifting the ground. One more point, and I will have done. Today's civilized citizen rightly speaks of universal tolerance, a noble and elevating idea worthy of emulation. But let me be a little cautious and critically analyze it. Learning from the world history, any seeker would feel this word tolerance smacks of condescension. One who tolerates seems to be on a higher pedestal, and one tolerated on a lower one. Tolerance does not appear to be an agreement or appreciation. Today, it is more a putting up with the other. For example, the Indian eats with fingers of right hand and his European counterpart with forks and spoon. Many times in modern life, they have to share the table, and at heart of hearts, the fork man abhors the finger man. But as a matter of courtesy, he tolerates. So, tolerance is a sort of patronizing accommodation, not a sublime feeling of the heart. Regarding the tolerance, when religion is the subject matter, it is more patent. The religious leaders of Christianity and Islam never hold the other faiths to be true. Still, to suit to the polite behavior of modern times is a matter of gentlemanship. They put up with it and call it tolerance. On the other hand, tolerance, as is generally understood or observed by the ancient traditions, is that they consider the faith of others as true as theirs. So for them, tolerance is acceptance of truth in the other faith, respecting it. His attitude is guided by the word also. My faith is correct. Yours also is correct. My faith would take me to God. Yours also would take you to Him. My God is all merciful. Yours also is. This inclusive behavior of alsoism is what tolerance connotes for him. But the beliefs of Semitic religion are on different plane. They are still obstinate that only their religion is true and it alone leads to salvation. They still feel their exclusivist attitude is right and just. So tolerance for them is not mutual respect based on truth, except the beliefs of their faith. All others are either heathens or kafirs, sure victims of eternal damnation. It is very interesting to know the answer of evangelist Billy Graham regarding this. When he was asked, would Mahatma Gandhi attain heaven after his death? His diplomatic but meaningful answer was, heaven without him will be poorer. Remember, friends, the question was not about heaven, but about Gandhiji. Contrastingly, bring before your mind the answer given by grandsire Bhishma regarding the veracity of all the religious beliefs. Bhishma says, just as, please note, just as the tracks of birds to fly in the sky and fishes to swim in the sea are infinite, the paths of the seekers of truth are infinite. So for an enlightened man of ancient traditions, your faith is as true as mine. Exactly because of this, Vivekananda said, man proceeds from truth to greater truth. According to him, every religion is true. That is the nature and spirit of genuine tolerance. What global tolerance should be is the one of ancient traditions, an attitude of enlightened mind, and not an extended courtesy. Thus, it is clear that in today's world, that rightly dreams of global peace, global tolerance, global family, universal brotherhood, ecological sustenance, and so on. The ancient traditions are still thriving in spite of continuous attempts to wipe them off from the face of earth. will be found more befitting, edifying, and effective. Ancient traditions are the most worthy legatees to proclaim once again the Vedic mantra, Krinvanto Vishwamayam, let us make the world sublime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ranga Hariji. That was a very inspiring note from you. With this, we have come to the conclusion of this session. We will not be taking any questions for this session. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and we will meet you in another 1.5 hours. Namaste.